channel sponsor is teamwallart.com. They make absolutely fantastic metal plaques. These being some prime examples. James Rodriguez there. The Everton badge. Another Everton badge. And there's absolutely tons on their website. Which, don't let me just tell you that. Go and check it out. Teamwallart.com. And you get 10% off with the discount code BBN10. Also to that, you'll get one for $5.99 if you buy one for $7.99. It's worldwide shipping. It's great gifts. I mean, $7.99, and it's just great stocking filler, birthday present. It's absolutely fantastic. So make sure you get yourself on the website. The link is in the description below. Get yourself over to teamwallart.com. Start buying now.
What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again, and I'm absolutely over the moon to say that I've got... Look, for all intensive purposes of this video, can I call you Craig, or do you want Craigo? It's up to you. What do you want?
Well, I will have Craigo, because Craig, believe it or not, is actually not my first name. A lot of people don't know that. Yeah, it's not my first name.
An exclusive on the Blue Boys Network. Jesus. So, okay. All right. Well, Craigo, we'll go with that then. Wow. Fucking hell. What a start. Jesus. Well, let's just get straight into it, shall we? Chelsea, is it 6 weeks ago now? Of a very different Chelsea to today.
Yeah. Yes, that is correct. Yes.
What was your thoughts on Lampard?
I like Lampard, and I think, again, people really want to try and paint this picture of me that I am this anti-Thomas Tuchel guy, but I was a big fan of Frank Lampard, as all Chelsea fans were. And I'm one of these people. I genuinely thought the problem with Chelsea wasn't only Frank Lampard. I thought that he actually did very well, but he was let down by many a player, and now said players are playing better. And it's almost there's this real unfortunate sense of player power at Chelsea that's existed for a long time. Yeah. But previously it was Lampard, Terry, Drogba, Petr Cech, whatever, with the player power. Now it's people that wouldn't even make the bench for team of 10 years ago kind of thing. So yeah, it's a little bit tough, unfortunately, but I was gutted to see him go, but I mean, obviously it's brought in a kind of new opportunity for us, and Thomas Tuchel, I still want to see more from certain players, but so far I'm a big fan of what I'm seeing from Tuchel himself. But yeah, no, it's a decent transition. It's a tough one to take for a lot of Chelsea fans. There seems to be this representation of Chelsea fans that a lot of people hated him, which is not true. No. And it's only a small section of supporters. But look, was it probably time for a change? Yeah, to be honest with you, I think Lampard's our fifth longest serving manager under Abramovich. Bear in mind, he only lasted a season and a half. That kind of paints the picture. Yeah. It was unfortunate, but it's one of those, unfortunately, that it's happened now. And to be fair, at least it's Thomas Tuchel. It's the Champions League finalist manager rather than any Tom, Dick and Harry who's just going to come in and do a job kind of thing. So I'm happy enough.
Yeah. And Thomas Tuchel, to be fair to him, he has got Chelsea playing, I would say, a different style of football as well. I've saw more emphasis on your wingers. I saw Pulisic even last night when he come on. I saw him dragging himself from out wide into the middle of the park and causing problems on both sides of the channels. Liverpool, you did cut open Liverpool a couple of occasions, certainly down the left-hand side. Mason Mount, who, in my opinion, does not get the credit he deserves. I think he is an exceptional footballer, and when you put
this is why I came on this video. This is why I came on this video.
So there you go. We just say it as it fucking is on the Blue Boys. I'm telling you. Mason Mount. Look, I really rate Jack Grealish. I really rate Maddison, but you can't mention those two without including Mason Mount, in my opinion.
Yes,
you just can't.
I agree.
And I see a lot of similarities with Mount to Lampard. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's kind of a natural comparison, to be honest with you, in terms of centre midfielder to centre midfielder. Obviously, English, Chelsea, it makes complete sense. But I think a lot of people are going, well, he's nowhere near as clinical as Lampard was. Now, I'm lucky. I'm 23 years of age. I never really got to see the very early stages of Lampard, and I've always known him to be this legend. And I think first time I properly started watching football would have been the 04-05 season and really understanding it and whatever. So I only ever saw the brilliant part of Lampard and many other players included. But early stages of John Terry, early stages of Frank Lampard, there would have still definitely been wasted opportunities. And I think a lot of people are like, well, Mason Mount's got to be more clinical. And I do agree. But the fact that he's getting into these really nice pockets of space, when he does get this, you know, almost sometimes irrational finishing out of the way, then, I mean, we're just going to be a joke. And he is going to be the centre of it. He arrives late. He makes different runs. In the centre forwards this season haven't necessarily done wonderfully well. Yeah. But he's still the one. Again, you pop up with 10, 20 goals a season from midfield like Lampard did for so many years. It doesn't matter if your front three aren't necessarily firing on all cylinders. And Mason Mount, again, he's 22, so he's not necessarily going to have the same, you know, production levels as Lampard did towards the end and whatever, or in prime Lampard years. But he's doing a decent job now. He's doing a very decent job, and he's definitely one for the future. I've heard many people say he's captain material, exactly like Lampard was. It is a perfect comparison. I really hope it pans out the same way.
Yeah, I truly think it will, because when I look at Mason Mount and going and breaking down his goal last night, he picks up the ball on the left-hand side of the box. You know, he's got that ability, he's got that skill, he's got that little bit of agility to get away from a defender, and he's got the composure to score a very good goal. I mean, there's no getting around. It was a stunning goal, and it sort of epitomised, in my opinion, it epitomised the journey that Thomas Tuchel has actually taken you on, because you've gone from being a team that went top of the league under Lampard, I think, for a very short period of time this season. Then I'm not going to say bodily, but I'm going to say sort of fell off a cliff in terms of form. I think that's fair. Really struggled, whether it was home and away. I think Chelsea just struggled in general. Yes. Yeah, you mentioned Timo Werner, and they did, but Tuchel's got them there. He's got the defence shored up. Christensen last night was absolutely monumental for Chelsea. Yeah, and he's got them playing a way where they would just win or get a point in football matches. I saw a stat before. I think are you unbeaten in 7 now or 6? You've had a few draws.
Yeah, we're unbeaten under Tuchel. We had Wolves, Burnley, Newcastle, Man United, Southampton, Liverpool. Have I missed anyone out in there? I think that's 7 or 8. It's 7 or 8. And we're undefeated in total in terms of cup games and Champions League as well.
Yeah, and what he's done is he's turned it from, I mean, you've had a few draws and he's started to turn it into wins. I think he's done a great job at Chelsea, which pisses me off slightly, because Everton have had a fantastic season in all.
You have indeed.
And I'm sort of worried now that the big boys might be there to... Well, Chelsea overtook us last night, so...
Well, it's funny that we talk about this dip in form for Chelsea, because it has been a big dip and it was car crash for a while. But Everton were the team that started it. It was the game where we played you, and you were the ones that started it. Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you had injury problems, and I think Luca Dean was out suspended or something like that when you played us. And you played 4 centre-halves in the back 4, which is what you had. And it did an incredible job, because you took the lead for a penalty, which, again, we stupidly gave away. And you went, do you know what? Am I allowed to swear on this channel?
Fucking hell. You crack on, mate.
Perfect. You went, fuck this. We're going to go and park every single champion on the ball. And it's like, oh, yeah, brilliant. We're going to absolutely do what we need to do here. And you did it perfectly. You absolutely smashed it. And that's what a lot of teams realised. If we park the bus against Chelsea and can go ahead, even if we don't go ahead, a point will do us. Us. And the teams that we did beat in the spell were ones that couldn't necessarily defend as well, and the ones that went behind to us early. Where, I mean, if you look at Fulham, went down to 10 men. They had a way that they were going to play, went down to 10 men, went out the window completely. We popped up with a winner. Brilliant. West Ham, they thought, no, this is a weak Chelsea team. We're going to go and attack them. Look what happened. They got done 3-0. Wasn't really a fair reflection of the game, but that's what happens. And I think the main thing, it was from that game where Wolves did it. I think literally the following game after, we went 1-0 up early in the second half, and Wolves still went, we're going to park the bus. We're going to park the bus. We're going to park the bus. And then for the next month, every team did it, and no one in our locker room, that's very American. No one in the change room ever went, I know, I'm in NFL mode at the moment.
Don't worry.
No one in the change room turned around and said, I'm going to be the one that's going to go and grab this game by the balls. Yeah. No one's going to be that person. And that's what cost Frank his job, is you had someone like, again, Mason Mount, 22 years of age, 21 at the time, trying to pull out these performances out of his arse. And it's very funny that it's taken him to do it rather than Jorginho, than Werner, than Ziyech, and all these other people, new signings, older players as well. And it caused a massive problem for us, where now there's this belief in the squad that it's anyone can play. I mean, Marcus Alonso didn't get a look in when it was under Frank Lampard. And to be honest with you, I think it's completely justified that he didn't, because he stormed off after the West Brom game and made a massive scene of something that didn't need to be made a scene of. That's him. That's his mistake. But now, I mean, we're not getting into this position where we're conceding goals. And it seems like a natural progression. The only thing I slightly worry about is that we haven't, I think under the games we've played under Tuchel, the most goals we've scored is 2. And we definitely had a chance to go and do more. And it was against Newcastle. We went 2-0 up before half time, and we never got the third. And I think John Joe Shelby had a free kick from about 30 yards away from goal. Kepa was in goal. And I thought, oh, shit, here we go. This is going to go in, or they're going to get a rebound, or something's going to happen. And then they were literally, I think they had 15 minutes left to go and get an equaliser, which generally could have happened. And I think that's something that's kind of been eradicated at the moment, is we aren't conceding. If it happens once or twice, it's a little bit of good form. But now this is a constant trend that we're not conceding goals. But we still haven't really seen a team come and test us the way that I think you guys probably will. With the way that you're scoring goals with Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Richarlison. I don't know, is James Rodriguez, is he back in?
So he wasn't in the team yesterday. However, I think the reason he wasn't in the team was because of you.
Makes sense. But I think these kind of players are going to cause problems for us. I'm obviously, of course, I want Chelsea to win and continue this momentum. But I do generally see there is a chance that Chelsea do not fade off. That's the wrong word, but do have a challenge to overcome. And I want to see how we overcome it. Because the only other time we went behind under Tuchel so far was against Southampton, and we luckily got a point out of it, to be honest with you. Mason Mount won a penalty. So it's a very complex game, especially the R1 coming up. But the way that Tuchel's playing is great, but we still need to score more goals. That's where you really start to get over this problem. And again, people have still got to grab the game by the balls and show, I want to be the one that puts the ball in the back of the net. And Timo Werner's starting to look like it, but still need to put the ball in the back of the net. That's basic football.
I've also been impressed with Hudson-Odoi as well when he's played since Tuchel come in, because I think he's massively improved. And you can see that Tuchel is improving the players that obviously you spent a lot of money on a lot of the team, but he's improving the ones that were already Chelsea players as well. Yeah. So I suppose it's quite refreshing from a Chelsea perspective. You've touched on it. We'll talk about Everton. I'll say briefly, but Everton go into the game off the back of is it 3 straight wins now? 2 straight? 3 straight wins. We had a dip in form before that. We'd only won 2 in 8, and obviously we started the season fantastically well. We've been quite up and down in terms of playing at home against away, and you can see that. I think in the away charts we're second in the league in terms of away points won this season, but home form we're 14th. So,
but you beat us.
We did beat you, but and I even said then at the time I'd rather play Chelsea at Chelsea because of the way we set up. But we only learned to set up like that in the game against you, and then we went on that run. Everton are going to go to Chelsea and be very compact at the back. They're going to be very tight. It's going to be just like it was at Goodison. It will.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll struggle to break that down? Because you have got creative players, but how are you going to set up against that?
Well, it'll be interesting because we started to play this narrow front three, which I'm a really big fan of. But yesterday's game, using that as an example, we said we did cut Liverpool open at certain times. But every time we cut them open was a long through ball, a ball over the top or a drilled long pass or whatever. That was how we cut them open. That's not going to happen against you. So we've got to be looking to play a different game. So for me, I think Mason Mount has got to be one of the front three. I think Werner, we want to try and continue his little bit of form and momentum. I suppose I say that he still hasn't bloody scored, but try and kind of continue progression, shall we say, of Timo Werner. And then I think we'll play Giroud up top. The only difference is playing Giroud up top against you. I mean, you've got Yerry Mina and oh god, who's the other centre half? Completely escaped me.
Keane, Ben Godfrey.
Yeah. One big lump against one ginormous bugger in Yerry Mina, and then Michael Keane's not exactly doing a bad job, is he?
No.
So it'll be an interesting way to play, but I think one of the main things for me is, and our goal came from yesterday, we took a shot from further out. I've still watched the replay so many times. I still don't know if it's in or inside or outside the box, but we take a shot from distance, and that's what I want to see more of from Chelsea, because I find too often we try and walk the ball into the net, especially against teams with a low block like Everton are going to do. They're going to sit very compact and whatever. But it reminds me of Arsenal many years ago where they tried to walk the ball into the net, and how many times they got saved by Van Persie, who was able to drill one from 20 yards away or just separate himself for half a yard and dig a shot out. Well, we haven't got a Van Persie. We've got Tammy Abraham. We've got Giroud, who, to be fair, could do that if given time. I think he's going to get it. And then Timo Werner is all about pace. So, in terms of three centre forwards, if they're the ones that you're expecting to score a goal, it could cause a big problem. So I think Mason Mount's going to be a big involvement again. But Jorginho and Kante, I like them playing together, but only one of them can pass forward. I say that, and Kante was the one that actually put the ball forward for a goal. But Jorginho is the one I'm on about trying to pass forward. I think it'll be very tough. I think maybe expect to see Chilwell drop out, see Alonso. Again, I think height will be a really big thing. I do just see it being a really nitty-gritty game, though, for both sides. The only worry I have, you guys you'll come and play the exact same way that we know how you're going to. But on the counter-attack, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, James Rodriguez, if he is back, even Luka Dean as well from fullback. These people can get forward and they can cause problems. And if we ain't careful, then we're going to get done. And that's where I slightly worry about. I think, Rudiger is great in terms of pace, but Christensen's not wonderful in terms of pace. Dave's not wonderful in terms of pace. Even Alonso's not wonderful. That's where I think we'll see Callum Hudson-Odoi come back in. I think it'll be a really, really tough game for us to be able to break you down and eventually win it. Because, that's the standard. Yesterday's result for us is superb, but it only means something if we go and get at least a point against you, if not more.
Yeah, and this was the same thing that we said after the Liverpool game for Everton. We had to go and beat Southampton, and then we had to go away to West Brom and get 6 points out of those games, because there's no point going to Anfield beating them. From an Everton perspective, there's no point going there beating them fair and square, and then falling apart. Which is what we've done this season. We've lost at home to Fulham, Newcastle, Leeds, West Ham, although you can't necessarily hold it against West Ham too much. But that's what Everton have done this season. They've had results against Chelsea, against Leicester, and then they've lost to Newcastle. It's really weird, because if you'd have said to me at the start of the season, Everton's away form would have them as solid top four team, but their home form would have them bottom half of the Premier League table, I would never have believed you based on Everton's, who we are. We always associate Goodison as a fortress, and it's not been this season. The issue that I think the top five have, because the top four have, because Everton's sitting fifth, you sitting fourth, is Everton have got a game in hand.
Yes.
So I suppose the teams above. What's your perception of Everton this season?
Love them. Honestly, it's great to see. Massive fan of Carlo Ancelotti when he was with us. really love him. Honestly, really, really love him. You brought in good players. You've got that sense of identity, but also you've got different ways that you can play. If you want to walk the ball into the net, you can. You've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin who can be the fox in the box. You've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin that can go and shoot from 25 yards away from goal and bang it top corner. Richarlison, even Bernard and all these different people. So small, agile, quick, and then at the same time you've got Decore. If you need to lump someone forward, you're going to throw him in the box. It's just a really well-rounded team, Everton, and I like the way that they're playing. And this isn't me trying to kiss your ass and going, "Oh, Everton are fantastic," but it generally is. In terms of a team that you can't necessarily call them top four, although they have been right up there all the way throughout the season. It's almost a one that. It sounds terrible, of course, because we're playing you on Monday. But I actually want you to get European football. And a big part of that probably comes from beating us. Do you know what I mean? But I do want you to get European football because I think, all respect to West Ham and whatever. I think if they went into Europe, they'd get dicked. I think they'd have a hope. Where with you, I looked at it, completely, But they would claim they'd have half a chance, and then they come up against like Sparta Prague, and I go, "Oh Christ, what were we thinking?" It'd be great for the revenue, but other than that, it's like, well, you're a mile off. But at least with again, Carlo, a proper manager, someone who knows what he's doing, and some really good players that you've brought in from established teams as well. I mean, how the hell you managed to grab, World Cup Golden Boot winner James Rodriguez? I think it was gold. Yeah, I think it was Golden Boot.
It was. Sure.
Player of the tournament and all these different things. Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Everton. It doesn't really fit in that. Whether you want to say it or not.
Nor does Carlo.
Yeah,
you go from
completely.
Marco Silva, Sam Allardyce, fucking Ronald Koeman to Carlo Ancelotti. I get it. I get it.
But that's the thing about Carlo. You can tell he loves his football. He loves it because normally everyone else would go, "Well, I've won the Champions League 4 times, and I've won the Liga, and I've won the Premier League, and I've won Serie A. I ain't going to go to Bayern Munich again." So I just kind of call it a day. And everyone would have gone, "Do you know what? Fair play, lad. Like, I ain't got a problem with it." But he looks at it and goes, "It's a decent little test for me. A little bit of a payday. There we are." Not as much as other places could have been. And you can just tell that he loves this competitive football because he's getting on now, but he still manages to pull this stuff out of the bag. And you've got results where you maybe shouldn't have, and you've dropped points where you shouldn't have as well. But that's part of the experience. And that's what I think Carlo just really enjoys his football, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows of it. And he's all for it. He wants to win the league. Is it going to happen realistically with Everton? Maybe not. But the next best thing, I mean, I'm pretty sure you would have probably said the aim for this season would maybe to win a cup if you could get that far. But realistically, it would have been to get into the top 4, top 7 and secure European football. And Carlo looks like he's going to do it for you.
Yeah, do you know what? You bang on because so the way that I work is I work quite strategic. That's just me as a person. I always think of a strategy and a plan. And when Everton had bought in Ronald Koeman, Mashiri wanted Ronald Koeman. Obviously, Mashiri was the money man. He bought into Everton. He gave Koeman a lot of money to spend. And between him and Steve Walsh, they pissed it up a wall. Like it was, you think of signings we've made. Klaassen.
Yeah.
Vlasic. Lookman. Rooney. Sigurdsson was 50 million, which is, he's an okay player, but he weren't 50 million. He's Balassi, 30 million. Even Jordan Pickford at 30 million. You sit there and you think, fucking hell, that's horrific.
Yeah.
So what Carlo's had to deal with is all of the legacy of that shit.
Yeah.
And we've gone through this process of going from Koeman to Sam Allardyce, who was literally just there to keep us in the league. That's how bad we had felt for them. Then we go and get Marco Silva, which again is a manager who has never done it at the top of the Premier League. And I always believe if you want to get a team to the top of the league or a certain position, you go and get someone who's done it, which is what you alluded to earlier with Tuchel. You went and got a Champions League finalist. You went and got someone who's been successful at every team he's been at. You went and approached him and got him. So Everton took this really weird path of getting loads of expensive players in who were not worth it and giving them a shit manager to try and get them up the league. It never made sense.
Yeah.
That's why the appointment of Carlo was massive because, he's on £13 million a year. I think it's the second highest paid manager in the league or third. He's paid a lot of money, but the thing he's brought with him isn't necessarily the ability to change players. Isn't necessarily, although he's doing that. I'm not going to say he's not. It's the mentality.
Yes, completely.
And you're seeing Calvert-Lewin, you're seeing Luca Dean, you're seeing Richarlison, you're seeing Decore, you're even seeing, and I'll highlight, I can't believe I'm doing this. You're seeing players like Tom fucking Davies, who before Carlo Ancelotti was as good as any League One side. Like I would have farmed him out anywhere. I was done with him. I was finished. Tom Davies has been absolutely instrumental. I mean, there's no doubt or coincidence in my mind that Everton comfortably beat Liverpool 2-0 and then struggle to beat Southampton and West Brom because he's not in the side. That's how fucking mad it is.
Yeah.
So for Everton, the first block of this plan was the mentality change, and that's what Carlo's bought. He's bought in that. So then I build it out. What's the next stages of this development? So number 2, beating Liverpool at Anfield. It sounds stupid, but Everton haven't done it in 21 years. That's a mental block.
Yeah. We haven't done it
for any player. Yeah. It's a mental block for the fans, for the players. You know, we knew that we went to Anfield every time and the best we could get was a draw. Fucking hell. So that block has now gone. And he's done that in a year and a half. Oh, so fucking hell, brilliant. The next step, depending on what preference you are, because there's some fans who prefer a trophy and some that prefer Europe, whatever that argument is, whatever.
Yeah.
The next one is to get one of those, and then the other one follows shortly after. Now, obviously, you win an FA Cup, you go to Europe. You finish anywhere from 7th in the league, probably, you go to Europe. That's another bridge that Everton have got across. The new stadium's on the horizon. We already know we've got money to spend. We've got the right manager. We've got a good nucleus building of a team. There's no reason that in 3 or 4 or 5 years' time, Everton can't challenge. I'm not going to say they'll win. I'm just saying they'll challenge.
Yeah.
And that's a progression that Everton fans, we're cool with that. We're fine. We know we're not going to beat everyone. We're not going to sit here and argue about it, but we're just wanting to see a clear plan. And Carlo's delivered. Like, Carlo's delivered tenfold this season. He has been nothing short of brilliant.
But, it's the same thing about your noisy neighbours, as much as we obviously hate them. But,
honestly, sorry to stop you there, but every single subscriber who is watching this channel now, I can guarantee is rimming you. Honest to God, fucking hell.
Hate them. Absolutely can't stand them. But they, 2014 lost out on the league. 2015 had a complete, basically, rebuild. Jurgen Klopp's come in. There's, again, I hate to say this, but they've done very well under him, and they've now dominated, and they were the best side in the world for at least a spell of, probably 18 months. Yeah. Not the case anymore, but there we are. But, I mean, they were the best side in the world for 18 months or so. If you'd have said to them back in 2015, whenever it was, that you're going to make Europa League final, lose it, you're going to make the Champions League final, lose it, and then you're going to turn around and go, we're going to make sure that you get the Champions League and the league and then a few other trophies to go with it, all in the space of 5 years, you'd give an arm for it.
Of course
you'd have bitten their hand off at the opportunity. And that's the same thing for you. Maybe, it's a little bit different, but the stadium's in place. Again, there'll be some money that probably has to go and come out of in terms of maybe transfer fund and pay for that a little bit. Lovely place, by the way. I was lucky enough someone took me there when I was up in Liverpool a few years ago, right with the dogs. Gorgeous. Really hope that pans out. But yeah, no, the money's going to disappear for a little bit from that. And then on the flip side of it, you've got this, this potential here. Doubt Carlo's going to be the person that does it, to be fair. But Carlo, again, he's got a lot of contacts. If he turns around and goes, do you know what, actually, that's enough for me. I'm going to kind of dip out and I'm going to retire. As again, he should be able to do it any time he wants. He's been a great manager. He can go and say, that's actually a really good job there at Everton, and they're going to really challenge for the league. And it's a little bit of a shame I won't be able to see it through. And I think if you, again, I'm not saying you're going to go and get a Pep-esque manager, but to go and get a very decent manager from across Europe that Everton, I mean, should aspire to. To be honest with you, I mean, I was a massive fan of Moyes. I think a lot of Everton fans were. When I actually did a stadium tour of Goodison, they kept banging on about Moyes, about how good of a manager he was for you. Haven't really replaced him since. This is I was going to say the second coming of Moyes, then, but this is the next. This is the next, the next one, the next one that really could do something for you. And he's going to put you in a great place. And I think it's very similar with Chelsea because obviously we brought in Sarri and we brought in Jorginho and Kepa and a few other people to play this Sarri-like system. We went on to win Europa League, but Sarri had never won anything before, which is nuts. Lampard, again, comes in afterwards. So Sarri obviously moved off, went to Juventus. He was going to, he was meant to be the guy for the next few years. He'd won something at Chelsea. We were going to build on it. Didn't work out like that. Complete sense. Went back to Juve. Ended up, he got sacked. That's a different matter. But at the same time, you then get Lampard comes in. He hasn't won anything. He's only been in management for a year at the time. He's then got a squad that isn't his. Players that have really been overpaid for in Jorginho and Kepa. Both of them together, I think, come to 130 million. And I don't see 130 million's worth of players in those two. Yeah.
Really? I didn't realise it was that much.
Yeah. Jorginho was 55 million. Kepa was about 72.
Oh, yeah. I knew Kepa was expensive. Yeah. Fucking hell. 55 fucking hell.
See, this is the thing. This is a lot of people say I don't like him, but 55 million quid for that. There's a lot of them around, to be honest with you. There's a lot of them.
Oh,
around.
yeah.
Yeah, that have to pay 55 million quid for. But yeah, no, it's the same thing. Lampard got given this job, and that was never his forte. He was never going to get the best out of this squad and take him to the next level.
Yeah.
We'd have liked to have believed that he could, but he was never going to do it. Obviously, now he's gone. Champions League, I was going to say winner then. Gutted. Champions League finalist manager. He's gone and he's done well everywhere. Not the most successful coach in the world, but if you could go and get a Thomas Tuchel-esque manager at Everton in a couple of years' time when Carlo does hang up his boots or whatever you want to call it when a manager retires, his whistle, I don't know. Clipboard. Probably a tablet now, isn't it? With some
folder.
Folder. That's it, folder. If you can do that in a couple of years' time, then you're in exactly the same position that we are. We had a little bit of success. We've done it a little bit more recently, but we still had a transition period that for us, we're lucky, was only pretty much a year. But in that year, we also still made the FA Cup final, so it's not that bad. But again, if you can trend in the right direction, everyone's going to go, that's just a really good project to be a part of. And I think any half-decent manager, even if they weren't Europe's best, would look at it and go, in 5 years' time, 6 years' time, where I'm no longer at Everton, would I be proud of that on my CV? And I think a lot of managers would say, yeah.
Yeah, I think with Carlo, so Carlo has fell in love with Everton and Liverpool. He walks on the beach and he meets all the fans. Not that he probably should, COVID and all that, but he does a lot of interaction and he's fantastic. And he every month he's sort of questioned on how long he's going to be at Everton, and it's quite weird. His contract's up in 2 years, for example. Mm-hmm. So naturally, you'd assume, 2 years he retires. But he keeps saying he wants to be the manager to walk Everton into their new stadium. And that's another year away after that. So I think the minimum we're going to have, Carlo, is another 3 years. Do I think he can win a league with Everton in 3 years? It's a push. It's a push, yeah. Even for an Everton fan who wants to say yes, it's a push. But do I think he can get us challenging for top four? If Leicester can do it, then why can't Everton?
No, I completely agree.
And I think that's a successful start of what could be the era. It took Liverpool 5 years. It wouldn't surprise me if it takes Everton 5 years to get in and around a title race of some type. Whether we win it or not, that's
irrelevant.
But in it, which would be amazing to see how far Everton have come from.
Yeah.
Going back to the game then, just briefly, I mean, fucking hell. I've kept far too much of your time. You're far too famous for me at this point.
Oh, don't, please don't. Still sitting in my bedroom.
Yeah, well, fucking hell. What's the score on Monday?
I'll back us to win 1-0. The same thing. I'll back us to win 1-0, but I don't look at us and think we're going to score more than twice. And I don't look at you and think the way that you're going to play is going to allow us to score more than twice, if twice at all. So naturally, it's 1-0. But generally, I think, I'll back us because, of course, you've got to support your team. But if I'm a betting man, I'm putting 1-1 on this. Yeah,
do you know what? I'm exactly the same as you. I'm exactly the same. I'll back Everton because of the away form to go to Chelsea, because of the mentality thing and all Carlo and that. I say, well, Everton are going to Chelsea. We're going to win 1-0. It's going to be a scrappy game. Chelsea are going to batter us all game. And we're going to get a penalty or something and see it out 1-0. But the betting man in me, my head is telling me it's 1-1.
Yeah.
Goal either side for either half.
Was it? I think it was last year. You beat us 3-1 at Goodison, and then just before the old C word came in, we whacked you 4-0. It's a tale of two. It's a tale of two games, and I think this game is going to be very similar. But on the same time, you beat us 1-0 this season, and I don't think it's going to be a tale of two games. But Chelsea probably that day again, we dominated the ball. We did everything we needed to do right and correct in that game. Just couldn't put it in the back of the net. It's very possible we do the exact same thing again this time round, and we defend from the front almost, and you defend so deep that we've got to come on to you all the time. But if you isolate the right player at the right time, this has a potential to go absolutely nuts in your favour. And a team that's on form, we haven't really played yet, because we played the teams that we've played under Tuchel that are big teams. We've played Liverpool, not really on form. Spurs at the time weren't really on form. I think Kane or Son was missing, one of the two. I think it was Kane. Man United, to be honest with you. And even who was the other one we played as well? Half decent. Oh, yeah, well, Southampton, I suppose, is the one you could say that have been in and around it. And, of course, problems to other teams. They haven't won in the last 9, weren't on form at all. We are playing a team that is on form. Even Atletico Madrid, when we played them in the Champions League, they were off form. They lost in the Liga like 3-4 days beforehand. Not the case for you guys. So it needs to be a good test for us, and we need to be able to make sure that we do the right thing. But for me, I think if we score early, we've got a chance. When I say early, I don't mean like first 5 minutes. I think we score in the first half, we've got a chance. But after that, we could potentially be playing a very dangerous game.
Yeah. I think that's a very fair assessment for a very good home team. I think that, you can't argue with that. Chelsea they are 4 for a reason. And I think I predicted Chelsea to finish second this season, which of course isn't out of Chelsea's reach, is it?
No.
The similarity I have from an Everton perspective is we played Man United, 4 weeks ago now, and we got a 3-3 draw. We were 2-0 down. We managed to go and pull it back to 2-2, and then we completely fell off a cliff again. Anyway, we managed to get a 3-3 draw. So the mentality element, this is where Everton, I think, go, okay, well, we're going 1-0 down to Chelsea. This isn't anything that we're not necessarily unexpectant of.
Yep.
And that's where this game's going to be quite interesting, because if Everton open up, there's no doubt that you can get in behind us, deliver the ball into them 3 nice and central forwards, the midfielders and Mount running in. There's no doubt you can hurt us, but equally down the other end, as you mentioned, Richarlison, we can hurt you. So it's going to be a great game between 4th and 5th in the league. There's a point in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fucking brilliant. I'm shitting myself, but I'm also looking forward to it. Do you get what I mean?
That's how it should be. That's how football should be. And I think so many games recently, and we've been involved in a fair few of them, so many boring 0-0s amongst the top teams where, this isn't us now. We both need big results. You to continue momentum, us to make sure that we get into top 4. And this is a game where, very similar to what happened in the FA Cup with you and Tottenham, that it could be a potential. Don't quite see it being 5-4.
It
could be potential. Both teams do not want to lose this game, and I don't think a point really does either team any good anyway.
It's a massive game. It's a massive game because
you'll be happy with a point, but other than that, I mean, still not happy. Not happy.
No.
Happier.
Yeah. You know, you think about it, Chelsea and Everton, like we've both got aspirations from where we've come from to at least get top 4 at this point.
Yeah.
At least, you know, and that's the same for Everton. Don't get me wrong. We'll be happy with Europa League. We'll be much happier with Europa League than you guys would. Fair comment.
Mm-hmm.
But where we are right now, we'd be disappointed to fall out of the challenge early. And that's why this game is so important, because if Everton, and it's a big if Everton managed to go to Chelsea and win, with the fixtures we've got coming up, which is teams like Brighton, Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
It could be fucking huge for Everton.
Yeah,
completely. I mean, but equally for Chelsea, because if you cement yourselves in the top 4 early, job done. Tuchel's coming, done his job. You prepare for next season. The earlier you do it, the better.
Yeah, completely agree. And that's what happened with Frank last year. We were in a dogfight right till the final day of the season. We had to beat Wolves at home. And it was like, I mean, Wolves are a decent side, to be fair to them. But, you know, their eyes were looking at something else. They were looking at their Europa League game that they had coming up after us. And we got away with one, to be honest with you. We got away with it. Because if we had dropped points to Wolves, we would have still finished in the top 4 thanks to a different result. But not as comfortable as you would have liked. And we were all celebrating top 4 like it was a trophy, which is definitely not the...
not what you want.
No, not at all, really. No.
But well, it's not what you want with your Chelsea. But Everton, for example.
Big difference, yeah.
Oh, yeah, big fucking parties everywhere.
Yeah, completely. And it should be. And it should be.
Craigo, I'm going to say Craigo because I almost said Craigo, but Craigo, honest to God, you've been fucking brilliant. I'll put the links to all of your socials in the description. Yeah, thank you ever so much for coming on. Like, I really appreciate it. I think you have been an absolute breath of fresh air as a guest. I've got a video with Matisse on Sunday as well. So we've got a couple of Chelsea fans coming. Oh,
nice guy.
Honest, I've never met a bad Chelsea fan. Never.
Oh, there is this weird love between us, you and Leicester. I don't know what it is. I think it's the boys in blue. I don't know what it is. We kind of have this like mutual respect for each other.
It's funny you say that because I love Chappie as well over.
Yeah, I love him as well.
And Ellis as well, the true fox. Bless him. Hope he's all right. So, yeah, honest to God. Yeah, guys, if you can hit the subscribe button, I really appreciate it. I am desperate to hit 10K by the end of the season. Desperate, like fucking hell.
How close are we? How close?
We need 1,500 subs, so it's a big push.
We'll do that.
Fucking hell, you joking.
We'll do that.
Hell. Fucking, I'm going to start having to get fucking TikToks involved with you, and I fucking. How much? Just on a side note, how much does TikTok help your platform, like on YouTube and that? Because you've done well in TikTok, haven't you?
Yeah, 180K on TikTok. I am. Yeah, it's all right. No, but it was a bit weird. So my TikTok, my ex-girlfriend told me I was never going to be able to do it. She had a friend that had 200K followers on it, and she said, "Oh, you know, won't be able to do it. Won't be able to hit the same milestone." So I just kind of went for the fuck it mode. Let's just give it a go and see what happens. So obviously I've done quite well, but it's mainly used as a giant fuck you. Really, that's how it kind of all came about. And kind of the main thing about it, I just kind of said, let's just make content that I'm going to enjoy making, which wasn't necessarily football. So it's been tough, honestly, because my audience is vastly based around taking the piss out of Americans and judging people's music choices, which is obviously not football. So you get the odd little football fan comes in and the odd little comment and whatever. But to be honest with you, it hasn't helped that much. But I'm slowly trying to transition into football because, I mean, that's my job, innit? So it makes sense.
It'll take over your channel. Your channel will go from, I think, what is it, on 17,200 or something at the minute?
Something
I think
like that, yeah.
It'll fucking take off, honest to
God.
I
hope it does.
Well, you'll be able to do it as a full-time job and everything, won't you?
That's the goal. That is the goal. I didn't go to uni to do broadcasting for 2 years for it not to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking hell. So, Craigo, it's been a pleasure. Thank you forever so much for coming on to the Blue Boys Network. Guys, make sure you subscribe to Craigo's channel and his TikTok if you've got a TikTok. I know a few of you do because you put clips of fucking me on TikTok, you fuckers. So, yeah, Craigo, it's been a pleasure and I'll see you soon, bud.
Pleasure.